What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Building Through Strength. I really do hope that everybody's been enjoying everything so far, like I've been saying in the last episodes. This episode, I think, is going to be a really good one. It's a really needed one as well. I got off the phone with my one of my good friends, my best friend since high school, Diana. Love her. Shout out to you, Di. We had just a really long conversation. A conversation that was supposed to be like a little 30 minute. Hey, how you doing? Ended up turning to like an hour and a half, 2 hour conversation, and I ended up asking her like, What do you think would be a good episode for the podcast?" And she was like, I think you should do it on God's timing and waiting on God's timing." And I'm like, "Bro, that's crazy because like that's what I'm going through in life." So we sat there, chopped it up, talked about waiting, waiting on what God wants for us, and how it's not how it's our timing is not the same as God's timing, and how it's so different. And it's hard sometimes. It's hard being patient waiting on God, and I was like, I got to do this. I got to do an episode on this tonight because I think it's very much needed because we don't notice how much we need God and how much we need to wait on God because like the plans that we have are nice sometimes, but the plans that we have for that God has for us are so much greater and we don't realize it. We never really know it. And it's rough sitting and waiting. As a very impatient person myself, like I'm a type of person, I want something done. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna find a way to do it, and it's gonna get done. I'm very stubborn. If I want something, then I'm gonna try my best to go out and get it. Whether that's goals that I've had for myself, whether that's um I always think of it as like a crackhead mentality. A crackhead is gonna find a way to make some money so he can, take his drugs, do what he got to do at the end of the day. So my thing is, if I need to provide for, my people, if I need to provide for myself, and I need to make a quick dollar, I'm gonna find a way. Whether that's mowing grass, washing cars, doing something like that, and it's something that I've done since I was a kid. Um, but that's been my mentality, and now being in a different um stage in my life of where I have to learn patience and I have to learn how to wait. It's like, God, like I want to do this. Like I know what I want. Like God, let me do it. But God's sitting there like, hold up, like calm down, buddy. Calm like I got something for you, but you gotta wait. You gotta be patient. And I've been struggling with it. Cause I'm so antsy. I'm really antsy with it. And um being in the Word lately, one Bible verse that I've came across was Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, where it says, "There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." Like God knows my heart. God knows what I want. But the thing is, He wants something that's so much greater for me that I don't realize that. And He might reveal it to me sometimes, but He's never gonna say, "Hey, I got this big job lined up for you. Here you go." He's gonna say, "Hey, I got this big job lined up for you, but I'm not gonna give it to you until you're ready." Because the thing is, God's not gonna give us something that we're not ready for yet, and something that He's not gonna give us anything that we aren't prepared for. He's not gonna give us something that He doesn't think that we're prepared for, or He knows that we're not prepared for. And but on the flip side, like with us, we just see it as an opportunity. But are we seeing it as like, are we equipped enough for that opportunity? And that's something that I've completely been struggling with. Um, that's just us as humans, though. Um, Real life example, like I took Asher out on a walk today, and uh, I'll put him in a cage while I go to work, and during lunch breaks, I come back, feed him, check up on him, let him go out and pee. We go for like a little 10-minute walk, and today I come back and he, as soon as he hears me open up the door, he's like, "Oh, we going? Like we going somewhere?" So I open up the cage. He's running around all excited. Grab the leash, and as soon as I grab the leash, he knows to sit. He knows like, okay, we're about to go outside. I make him sit down at the door so he doesn't rush out the door every time. So I put him down at the door. He sits at the door, and he's just sitting there waiting. So I put the leash on him, and as soon as I open the door, he kind of like tries to dart out, and I yank him a little bit to like, hey, like calm down. So he slows down and he looks at me and he's like, okay, like I'm waiting on you. I'm ready for you to go. And as we're walking, um, you know, I'm just trying to get some air, trying to get my feet moving, trying to get my steps in. He's just overstimulated. Like he's walking around sniffing grass. He's over here trying to eat things off the concrete and all that stuff. Like he's just so excited to be outside, and it gets to a point where like he's walking, like he's trying to lead the leash, and he's sitting there just walking and pulling the leash, and I gotta tug him back, like, hey, remember you're supposed to be walking beside me. You're not supposed to be leading me. You're not supposed to be walking off into the neighbor's yard to poop in their yard. You're supposed to be staying right beside me. And the thing is, like, that's exactly what God is doing with us. God has us waiting in that cage. He has us waiting in that moment. He has us waiting in that stage in our life. So when he comes in and he grabs that leash and we're like, okay, we're going, like, God, where are we going? God, where are we going? He doesn't want us to do that. He wants us to sit at that door. He wants us to wait for a second to be like, okay, God, I'm listening to you. When you say go, we go. And then God's gonna take us when we're on that walk with God, when we're living with God, when we're being with God and we're walking. He doesn't want us to sit there and try and lead him. We're not made to lead God. We're not made to go before God. We're made to go after God. Let God go. Let God lead us because he knows the plan. You got to think about, like, God knows not only your heart, but he knows the hearts of every single person that ever lived because he created everybody. And it's hard, bro. It's so hard because you're thinking like, "Okay, God, like you lead me, I'm going with you." And the second that we get that inch of, "Okay, I see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I'm gonna try and run to the light." And sometimes God gotta yank us back a little bit because it's he's ordering our steps. That nice gospel song where it's like, "Order my steps in your word, Lord." That's what he's doing. He's ordering our steps. He's getting us to that point. He's lining up certain things for us, so when we get there, it's a flawless, it's a nice gradual transition. Because sometimes, like, we tend to make that transition a little bit rougher because we try to go before God. We try to do things on our own, and that's when God has to yank us back a little bit. He has to yank that leash a little bit. And I mean, man, I'm struggling with that right now with my impatience. I have so big aspirations and my dreams are just so big for myself, and I have my what I want for myself at such a high standard that, like, I tend to, like, try and jump on that and try and go to that. And honestly, like, I'm not ready for it mentally, but in my mind, like, I wanna get it, like, I wanna go, I wanna be in Forbes 30 under 30 tomorrow, but God doesn't have that out for me, and it's so hard. It's so hard because, like, there's been nights that I have prayed to God. I'm like, "God, I wanna be a coach I wanna be a coach of a big school one day," or, "God, I wanna my" if I have two different dreams. One is to be, either a head coach or OC at a big school, call the plays, just coach good football. And then another dream that I have is I want to be the CEO or some big role in a public housing authority to hopefully help people who are living in their current situations get out of their situations. Hopefully, helping them become homeowners. Just finding that financial mobility, to get out of situations that they were in. And I'll see that opening sometimes, and I'll try to jump at it, but God always brings me back. And I remember praying to God, asking him, like, "God, whatever it is that I need to do to get there, help me. Help me get there." And he's been opening up those doors, but at the same time, he's not opening those doors for me to walk through. He's opening those doors for me to see what I can do, to see my potential. And the hardest part is sometimes you got to see that door and know, like, okay, like, I can't step in that door right now because I'm still being prepped in this room. And Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3 says, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." God's plan is always the time. God's plan is always right. We try to rush everything. We try to do everything, but I'm telling you, we have to wait on God. Um, there was a time where I was rushing a relationship with my ex. I was trying to break no contact to hopefully get a response out of her, not to say, "Hey, let's get back together," but let's just open up a friendship. But the thing is, it's it's not our time yet. There's times where I try and spend a lot of money on whether it's like things for the podcast or whether it's things for my house, and then I end up going broke. And I'm looking back like, why in the world did this happen? Well, it's because I spent my money too fast. If we just pace it out, we I spend money on pillows here, or I spend money on like a better microphone set here, and just let that gradual change happen. I'm gonna look up in a month or so, and my living room's gonna be ready, or I'm gonna have the stuff that I need for my podcast ready. Just those gradual changes, because what's meant for you will happen. If it is in God's will and God's plan for our lives, it will happen. That's for anything. Yeah, that's for physically, like football. We're in the middle of camp. We're grinding camp out. You may be at the three spot. You may be at the two spot, waiting to get to the one spot, and you just like, dang, like I need to get there. Like I gotta go. I gotta grind. Like I have to find a way to get to the one spot. But we fail to realize like God's lining things up. There might be a play where the number one spot, God forbid, he might get hurt, and you maybe your time to step up. That's exactly what happened with me when I played receiver. We had a guy go down, we had a guy academically ineligible, and we had one slot receiver. I was the backup slot receiver at the time. 6 plays into my first ever college game at receiver, the guy gets hurt. I'm the starting receiver. I played every snap as slot receiver that game from like second quarter on, and I did pretty good, but it didn't come out of me trying to my best to get to that starting spot because it was already that guy's starting spot. But he ended up getting hurt. God put me in a position to where he knew that I didn't think that I was ready, but he knew I was ready, so he made it happen. That's you see what I'm talking about? It's not gonna happen overnight. You're not gonna get that starting spot overnight. You're not gonna get that job overnight. You're not gonna get whatever overnight. But if you just trust God, you listen to God, you stay with God, you stay patient with God. When don't pull that leash. Do not pull that leash because he might let go and let you run and let you learn your own lessons. There's been times I did that with Asher. I didn't let him walk around a pole, and now we're stuck at a pole, and made him figure out how, okay, I can't go around this pole because we're going to keep getting tangled, but I got to walk around the other way. Like he's going to teach you those lessons because that's what God wants for us. Like if we try and do our own thing, God's going to make sure we know that we went too far. So he's going to have to pull us back. It's it's hard waiting. It's hard understanding God's timing. But the thing is, like, if we just wait, Psalm chapter 27, verse 14 says, wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Anytime in the Bible where it repeats itself, that's showing importance. That's showing like, hey, this is me saying like King David when he wrote Psalms, he was saying, hey, like wait for the Lord. It's take your time. And saying it again is that importance of like you better wait, dog. You better wait because he's lined up so much. And I keep going back to that because we don't see that waiting. We don't notice that waiting because it's not in our face. Um just me praying over my life, praying over my friends' lives, and I'm starting to see blessings unfold that I prayed for my friends, and I'm like, "Dang, like this is great, but God, I made some prayers that I needed answered yesterday. Why are they not answered?" And every time I made that prayer, I'd always hear God saying, "Wait." I always heard God saying, "Be patient." And I'm like, "God, I know you're telling me to be patient, but it's so hard. It's so hard being in that waiting room. It's so hard like sitting back and like that anticipation, that quietness, that stillness. It's so hard, but the thing is God's pruning us. He's shaping us. He's forming us to the person that we can be, if that makes sense. Um, I know that like there's sometimes like when we go to the doctors, I hate doctors. I do not like going to the doctor's office. If I get sick or something, first person I'm doing is I'm calling my mom and I'm just like, Mama, I need ginger ale and chicken noodle soup because I'm not going to the doctor. But like if it does get bad enough and I do have to go to the doctor and I check in and then they make you sit in that waiting room, and it's that small anticipation. It's that small, like, okay, what if the doctor says this, or what if the doctor says that? And it's like you just sitting there waiting on it, and like you never know. You simply never know. But the thing is, once you get into the doctor's room, and that relief of the doctor saying, "Oh, you're good. You just got a little flu. You just got a little sickness going on. Like, you good. You fine." Like, that's like the that's the relief. Getting some biblical examples. Joseph, he was when he was sold, um, you know, for the coat of many colors, he was put in prison, because he the king's wife basically was saying, like, "Hey, he tried to get with me, da 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 da," and Joseph, he stayed down. He was like, "No, I didn't," but she was like, "Hey, put him in jail, whatever." But when he was thrown in jail, and Joseph was waiting in prison before leading Egypt, he had to stay down. He couldn't sit there and do anything crazy because he's sitting in jail. Um, David waited for years after being anointed the king. Like, he killed Goliath and all, and there was still like that time where King Saul was chasing him and wanted his head. And but like David did all these great things, but then at the same time, like, he knew that God wanted more for him, but he couldn't just go sit there and go after it at the time. It's that patience. Um, so I mean, one thing that I want to ask you guys is, what is God building in you while you wait? What is God pruning in you while you wait? What is He forming while you wait? Because I think once you're able to answer that question on your own, that's when you'll start to appreciate that patience. You're appreciating that stillness a little bit more, if that makes sense. Because like there's strength in that. There's so much strength that can be found in that waiting, and waiting in that season, waiting in that anything that may be going on, and we may not know how to handle that. Um, so I mean, if you are asking that question, like, how do I wait in a time that I don't know how to wait? How do I handle the uncertainty? How do I handle the not knowing? I would just say, like, keep your head down and just keep working. Work on what's in front of you. See what you can see. Um and just go. I think like the biggest thing that I'm trying to do right now is just grow where I'm planted. I have a great job at a nonprofit community center. Um and to on the outside it will look like, okay, he just took the job because he only had that was one of his only options, and he don't really like it. But like, I love it. I love the people there. I love the kids that I connect with. I love the community partners that I connect with. But if I'm rushing to get out of that situation, then I will never grow in the situation that I'm in. You never see a flower trying to get out of the ground to go somewhere else to grow, rather than it growing in the current position that it's in. Because if we try and leave a place that we're growing, we might end up hurting ourselves in that, rather than if we stay in and we be patient and we see what God has for us, then we never know. But if God does uproot us from that situation, then that's God's will. That's God's timing. That's God's doing. He's taking us somewhere where we should be going. I might see some green grass across the street, try and uproot myself, go to the green grass, and turns out grass is getting cut that day. God may see um he might uproot us, take us across the street, down the block, take a right, take a left at the light, and then plop us right across the street in some dead grass. And we might be like, dang, like, why is this happening? But we never know. Like, that grass may be growing for some huge building for us to be seen and for us to grow and flourish. We never know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, stay down. Just keep your head forward. Keep working on what you got. Grow where you're planted. You have to grow where you're planted, because when we're growing where we're planted, that's God's that's where God can do his most beautiful work. if that makes sense. Another thing is surround yourself with reminders of his promises. With friends, that's really important. Accountability friends of friends that'll say, "Hey, bro, like you not locked in right now. Like this is what you said that you wanted for yourself, and you're not really going all that. Like, what's up with that?" Or sticky notes, reminders in your apps. Like we're always using our phones, so let's use our phones for good. Let's find a way to actually get some good use out of our phones, so we're not sitting there brain rotting. Um, have like screen time settings. Have certain set like just when you wake up in the morning, have a little reminder saying, "Hey, go after it today." Something small like that. Um, Another thing is keeping gratitude in your life. We can do all these things and just find ways to just keep growing towards God, keep building towards God. And I'm telling y'all, if we stay patient, we stay down, and we keep looking at God and let Him lead our lives, it's gonna go so much better than we could ever imagine. Reassurance is we need to have that reassurance that not yet means I'm still writing your story. That's what God is telling us. Reassuring is God saying, "Hold up, like calm down. I'm pulling your leash a little bit. Wait on me. Let me catch up to you because I have something like we're going somewhere that you don't think we're going." I'm telling y'all, it's a rough, it is a nervous, it is a bone chilling process of waiting, but the process that God has for us, the outcome that God has for us is so much better than we could ever imagine. I really appreciate you guys for listening. Thank y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you for every listener. Thank you for every person who's giving constructive criticism. I had somebody tell me that I wasn't vulnerable enough, and I took that to heart. I really did because I want to be 100% authentic, telling you what it is, what it ain't, what's going on in my life, so you can see me and be like, okay, this is where you messed up. I want to not mess up that way. And I mean, I really do hope that. Oh, my computer died. But all right, my computer died, so I gotta cut some stuff out. But thank you guys for listening. I really do. Share it with your mama, your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, anybody that you gotta share it with. Appreciate y'all. Forever for always. Keep 2 feet down. Keep one head up. Love y'all. 143. Peace. Oh, my computer died, bubble.